Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Thursday, July 17th, and this is episode number 304. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me is my brother, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are things going?
Hey, Rod, it's another great week to be a Browns fan, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, we got stuff to talk about. We'll get into that.
Oh,
Hey,
nice.
let's bring our guest in. Joining us is Ethan Greenberg, a fellow member of the Fanatical Elves Network. Ethan, you follow him at egreen4325. We may find out the significance of the 4325 here on this very podcast. Ethan is the host of two
Don't tell
shows.
anyone, but that's his iPhone password.
Uh-oh. Now
One,
we did it.
two, three, four. What kind of an idiot has that as a password? No. Sorry, we went Spaceballs on you. I'm sorry. Totally
Oh,
interrupted the
you're
flow. My bad.
fine. And Ethan is a host or co-host of Going Nuclear and also the best doggone podcast in the land. Very
Yes, sir.
nice. He's repping it right now. You can find those shows on the Fanatical Elves Network, along with all of the other shows by all the other contributors. So make sure you're checking all those out and subscribe to us on everywhere you find podcasts. So on iTunes and YouTube and every place else. We appreciate you guys checking us out. So welcome to the show, Ethan. It's good to have you.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations. You guys hitting 300 episodes. That's pretty fan-fugu-tastic to reference a little Simpsons action here. Congratulations on that, and to
Well,
be able
thank
to
you.
put that together and the longevity. It's not easy. You guys know it. I'm talking to professionals here. So yeah, to come up with ideas. Although the Browns, their stories, they kind of write themselves. They are never there's never a dull moment.
We don't feel the need to manufacture drama, that's for sure.
No, they're very good at that. They are very good at doing that for themselves. Just when you think you're gonna make it to training camp and it's gonna be quiet, somebody goes and punches somebody else in the mouth, allegedly.
Right? Right? Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
room shot. I'm loving it.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, what the heck? This is a Browns podcast, guys. So yeah, yeah, not making light of that or anything, but it's just the Browns, you know. So what can you say?
Oh,
Um,
exactly.
we're going to get into that and all that other stuff, but but before we do, we got a few things that a couple of segments we like to get out of the way and talk about first. And first one's our Blitz beverages. We like to talk about what we're drinking on this show. Ethan, you mentioned Manischewitz. I understand you didn't bring that, but so what do you have in front of you?
Actually, I've got a very fine Gold Peak zero sugar sweet tea, so I have to stay away from the sugar. I'm an ignoramus and didn't take care of myself and managed to end up with type 2 diabetes, so I have to stay away from the sugar and the carbs. So the sweeteners, whatever it is, the Splendas, etc. We can go with those. So I've got some Gold Peak zero sugar sweet tea. Excellent,
All right,
fantastic stuff.
very
Not
nice
quite
and
Lipton, but it's good.
nice
Nice.
presentation.
Oh, why,
Nice,
thank you. Next up on The Price is Right, we've got a delicious bottle of Gold Peak Zero Sugar Sweet Tea.
Jeff. What do you have?
I have the disappearing bottle of Heineken Zero.
All right, we can even see it.
Repeat
That's pretty
performance.
cool.
Yeah, this time you can actually see it.
Yeah. So how is that? Good.
Yeah, it's Heineken, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that zero? Is that zero alcohol? So is that like
Yeah.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Zero
I'm
alcohol.
alcohol free, Ethan.
Hey, that's perfect. That's perfect. I remember drinking some O'Doul's back in the day.
Ugh.
It was horrible.
Ugh.
Horrible. They make good alcohol-free beer now.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's actually
So yeah.
a really nice selection of alcohol-free beers now, even some microbrew stuff. So you don't have to drink that crap anymore.
Oh, but I mean, think how far we've come from O'Doul's, and I mean, even the alcoholic stuff. Would you like some with old Milwaukee beer?
I
All
have to
right.
tell a quick funny story about this, Rob, because
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll save mine
it's
for a bit.
it's the 10th anniversary of the passing of our dad, and when I used to show up at his house, my dad always kept some beer in the fridge for me, and Dad didn't spend a lot of money on beer. Um, Mom, Dad didn't spend a lot of money on most things, but um, I'd walk in the house and Dad would say, "Hey, you want a beer?" And I'd say, "No, I'll just have a Keystone," because that's what he had in the fridge. Keystone was some really crappy beer, but it was beer, so we had a beer together. That was all what it was all about.
Well, here's the rest of the story, though, Jeff. When I graduated from college and came home, Dad was still drinking Milwaukee's Best at that point in time, and
So
I'm
Keystone was an upgrade.
yeah, I had just gotten out of college, and so I was drinking. I would drink anything at college. I got home and I'm like, I can't drink this stuff. I had to have a conversation with Dad. I'm like, Dad, can we upgrade this a little bit to something I can drink? So we
Right.
so so we started getting Keystone and Stroh's and a few other beers along those lines. I actually liked the Stroh's and that 15 pack. That was
Yeah.
pretty good. The Keystone was okay. I mean, I probably wouldn't touch any of that stuff now, but man, the Milwaukee's Best, I couldn't drink it. It was horrible.
Beast, the beast.
Yeah, it was horrendous. I don't know how anybody could drink that, but to our dad, beer was beer. He didn't taste the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
And
He didn't know.
how I don't know. I don't know. But
Well, the
you know,
good thing is by not having that discerning palate and not feeling a need for the expensive stuff, it saved a lot of money. It's kind of like being the
it did.
wine. If
Yeah.
I go to the store and someone shows me this expensive bottle of wine, am I really going to know the difference between that and the Manischewitz? Probably not that
You're
much.
probably not. I mean, Jeff
Probably,
would, you're not. But
yeah.
yeah,
You know,
it just depends. You make a good point though. You make a good point. So I made him spend twice as much money by getting the Keystone.
oh, fantastic! Could you get some Rolling Rock while we're at it?
Yeah, there's some people who still like Rolling Rock that might be listening to the show right now. So
Nice.
guys, yeah, guys, I'm drinking the other beer. I did a poll last week and the two beers tied. So tonight I'm drinking this Diebold Rio Negra Mexican Amber Lager. And this is
Nice.
from it's a 5.2% alcohol ABV. Is this the same brewery as last week? Because this is from Denver, Colorado also.
Oh, geez.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Why they're sending me beer from Denver, Colorado. But anyways, it tastes okay. It's not particularly Mexican tasting. Maybe that's maybe that's the fact that it's an amber. Um, it's got a good flavor. And it's kind of a cool can. You can see the can is pretty cool,
Nice.
but
Yeah. Looks
it tastes
cool.
pretty good. It tastes pretty good as long as
I'm
we're not talking.
I'm very intimidated by the beer right there. That can is kind of scary. The tiger was looking at me, or whatever. That fierce feline. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, very scary. All right, and
All right, guys. Cheers.
yeah,
To Dad.
cheers. Yeah, cheers to our dad.
Cheers to your dad.
So, guys, I actually, Ethan, I didn't tell you this, but we do a segment on this show where guests who are around for the first time get to tell us about their Browns fandom. And I know that you live out of state currently. You're in
Yes, I do.
Virginia, so
Yes.
so we're gonna flip to this is new, first time it's being used. My Browns fandom. We're gonna just turn it over to you and kind of tell us about your Browns fandom, how it came to be, any special stories you'd like to share with our.
Well, I was born in Dayton, but didn't live there for long, and then moved to and grew up in Canton. My dad, he is from England, and long story short, because they moved around when they came to the United States, they left England when he was 13, and then they ended up in Cleveland Heights, and he attended Heights High, graduated. He's a Cleveland Heights Tiger. And in fact, he was at the 1964 championship game at the stadium. And so when I was growing up, I guess that I must have, it was in the blood. I've got a picture, and actually, this is kind of funny. I didn't know this was going to have to come out, but here is a picture showing me this is in 1982, October 82. So I would have been, I guess, 3 at that point. But this is to show you how far back it goes. This is me and my older brother, Daniel. But as you can see,
Mm-hmm.
we're wearing the Browns jerseys. Now, I didn't particularly remember all of that back then. I guess that my earliest memories of the Browns was with Bernie. And in 80, 87, or I guess, well, the mid 80s. So it would have been the year, so obviously, when the dog pound first came around. So was that the 86, 87 season? I think is what it would have been. And
Little
85
before
was
that. Yeah, a little
85 was
before
the
that.
first division championship. Yeah.
okay, and they lost to Miami that year, and then 86 they lost in the on the drive. But I remember, with the dog pound, my uncle, or one of my uncles, my mom is the oldest of 4 children, and my uncle David, he made us these like bones, these big long bones. I don't know what exactly. He didn't use not a really hard plastic. It was flexible, but we had these bones and we had the dog pound. I remember watching the game. Specifically, I remember watching the double overtime thriller against the Jets. And so those were probably my first memories, things that I can go back and say, oh yeah, I remember watching the Browns back then. And I'll never forget where I was, when we lost to the Broncos the next week. I was at it was a Sunday, and of course, but growing up and playing sports at the Jewish Community Center in Canton, basketball was on a Sunday. And there was a TV, and I don't know if it was before the game, my game, or after, but I went in and I'm sitting watching this one goofball kid. He was like, "Oh, the TV's gonna go out," and he was around there all the time, so he did something, but it was right as Rich Carlos was kicking that field goal. So sadly, I remember that. But those are some of my earliest memories, and after that, I was hooked. I was hooked. I remember where we were, the party we were at, the gathering to watch the next year's championship game, only to see Ernest Biner fumble. And it was painful. And I remember in school when it was pandemonium in elementary school, guessing the score of the game. Oh, it was just so disappointing and deflating, of course. Little did I know I was in store for many, many decades of disappointment with the Browns. Uh, Cleveland sports is in my blood, and there's a sense of loyalty there. Sure, could I walk away from it, and say screw this? I don't need to waste my time doing this or following this sorry ass team. I could, but I love them too much. It's like family. You have to have the intervention. You are hoping that they're the screw up kid that at some point they got to get it right, right? And it went from there. So it's not
No, they
just the
don't.
Browns.
We would think so, but
What do
but
they
I'm an
always?
optimist. What can I say? Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm more of a half glass empty guy, not the half glass full guy. Um, I try to go in with the zero expectation especially for the Browns, because the less I expect, the less disappointed I can be. And I think that just in general, following the Browns, it sucked when when Art moved him to Baltimore, and I remember those years of not having a team, and I didn't care much on a Sunday afternoon to even sit and watch anybody. So when they came back in '99, I was I talked to you guys before we came on. My first broadcasting position uh, was with the Canton Crocodiles, not really minor league, but a professional baseball league, wood bat league. Um, that year, that was summer '99 when they came back, and I was so pumped. And I knew it was just the Hall of Fame game just down the street from me. But I was like, I was glued to the TV, to watch that thing. And that's how important it was to me. And every week, watch that team, no matter how bad they stunk. I watched by myself a lot. I was in college. I was, I had roommates, but they were busy working or doing whatever. So I watched the games by myself. I remember I remember the first win, them beating the Saints. So, and I specifically remember the beatdown they took in the week 1 opener against the Steelers. There was actually somebody in my building, same apartment, that played on the soccer team at Kent State, and she was from Pennsylvania, so she was a Steelers fan. I kind of recall that, sadly, and whatnot. So I'd say that my Browns fandom goes way back. As I mentioned, my first memories had to be mid '80s, and just my love for all things Cleveland. It's in me, and I guess it speaks to either my fierce loyalty or major stupidity. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I mean, once it's in your blood, it's in your blood, and yeah, there's
It
not
is.
not much
It
you can do
is.
about it after that.
No, and I
Yeah.
have passed it along to my son Jacob. He just turned 15 a couple weeks ago, and he's become a hardcore Browns fan. And
Bless his
that
heart.
it, look, so when he was about, oh god, so Myles Garrett's rookie year, we happened to be in Ohio for, I think, my dad. He got married to my stepmother, and we happened to be in town, and we went to the game. So we saw Myles Garrett's first game against the Saints and the rise of Deshaun Kaiser. The next year, we also went to a preseason game. We saw the opening preseason game against the Eagles and saw the first glimpse of Baker Mayfield. Then the year after that with Freddie Kitchens, we went to a preseason game then. Tried to plan all my vacations around sporting events. And I got him into it, and we started sitting and watching the games. Even from here, I'd have to find crappy streams to try and watch it, But then once he really got into it, I was like, all right, I'm gonna find a way. DirecTV really tried to screw you in not allowing you to get the Sunday ticket unless you lived in an apartment or a complex where you could not get the DirecTV dish. I'm like, why are you turning me away? Why are you turning business away? So I had to kind of finagle the system for a number of years. In fact, the opener against the Panthers, which Cade York hit the winner, I found some lousy stream that season, and it stopped right as he was kicking it. So it was painstaking. But then I did, later that season, I took my son, Jacob. I took him to his first regular season game. It was a Christmas gift. We went up to the game in DC, and the Commanders graced us with playing Carson Wentz, and Deshaun had one half of decent football, and they won the game. And it was good times. And the next year we went and we saw them in Cleveland against Arizona. Won that game. Last year, not so good. We went to the game in Washington with my co-host on Going Nuclear, Mike Rasinski, and because he lives up in Northern Virginia, he's there. And so we went up to that game with my son and his two oldest boys. That was not so good. That was not so good, and eek, just eek. But bottom line, he is hooked. He's and we got his first autographs that got there early at a game in DC. Got Bill Callahan. Sadly, we got Deshaun Watson. Got some other. I think we got Jacoby Brissett. Trying to think, but I'm like,
It's
oh,
still cool for him. Yeah, it's still cool to get
it
autographs. So
is.
yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
And of all the
Uh,
things he could have asked for his bar mitzvah gift, he got my stepmom and my dad got him a autographed Denzel Ward jersey
nice.
that I had to get framed. Then the
That's
next
cool.
year, or I think it was, so it would have been last year, Denzel Ward was at the ESPN Cleveland block party. and they had announced that he was going to be there, so we had to search out and find a card, and I got it autographed for him, and it's so it's awesome to be able
Cool.
to share that with him. So I guess it really comes down to it's in the blood.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, let's get to some. I guess we'll call it Browns news. I mean, first of all, training camps starting. Rookies report tomorrow, and vets on Tuesday. So we're gonna have some stuff. We're gonna be hearing about stuff. Whether we're gonna really know anything much, I don't know. Obviously, hope everybody stays healthy through camp, and that's about it. Are we gonna be figuring out who's winning competitions, through camp? Probably not. But we'll see what we hear. So it's probably a little premature to talk about a whole heck of a lot about that stuff. So let's talk about some of the other junk going on. And we mentioned this before we started recording, and that's the whole Shadur at KFC thing. Let's start with something real soft, okay, guys? That Jeff didn't think we would even bring up. Let's just knock this one out of the park, Ethan. So Shadur was working the drive-through window at a KFC, and I guess Jeff, my question is, you know, I don't even know what my question is. I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, right? Is Are you buying into it? Are you buying into Shadur the good guy thing? Does this come across as genuine to you, or is he, or do you still have reservations? You got the speeding tickets, you got the dropping in the draft because other teams don't want to touch him because of his dad and all this. Has this stuff lost control, or is this stuff genuine? What are your thoughts? And how would you know?
Who knows? It might be a little contrived. You feel like there's a script a little bit, that this is what a rookie quarterback should do leading up to camp, and the type of impression that he should make in the community and so forth, which is all positive, right? You'd rather have that
Right.
than the opposite. But it has absolutely nothing to do with his ability to play quarterback. It has everything to do with public perception right now. Should we give this kid a chance, right? Or is he another screw up in the long line of Cleveland quarterback screw ups, right? So at least we're not hanging that on him yet. So
Right.
for now, it's all good.
Ethan, what do you think?
All right, so I guess first and foremost, I don't know that this is all like what's the word I'm looking for? Not contrived. It's kind of seems like it's fitting for him. If you saw also, there was the story yesterday about him showing up in that neighborhood, and doing. It's like, I apologize. I should have had that. I was trying to look that up.
Where the fires were?
Yeah, and he showed
And
up there. Nobody, and he didn't notify anybody.
yeah,
And
I
he
think
showed
Mike
up.
Hall was a part of that too. I think, right?
Oh,
From what I saw, I
even
think.
better. I mean,
Yeah.
but the point is, I think this is actually who he is and what he does. This kid doesn't need money, right? He's not in need of money. I Other than these speeding tickets, as far as we know, he's not been in any kind of major trouble. Obviously, we know that doesn't mean everything. We'll get to that later. But of all the screw ups we've seen in Cleveland, right, that they've drafted, he's way down on the list of screw ups. I got to be quite honest. He's more talented than Cody Kessler, Deshaun Kaiser. Not as much trouble as Johnny Manziel. I mean, he has got a lot of work to do. And I don't think it's because of his attitude. Although there were those rumblings during the pre-draft process. And I don't know. I don't know how much of that is true and how much of it is a little bit overblown. Either way, teams stayed away from him because I don't think teams really I don't think he was a first rounder, but I also don't think he was a fifth rounder. And it might be a gift that he ended up in the fifth round for the Browns' sake, maybe for his sake, maybe a little humility there. But from what I've seen, I'm kind of impressed with what he's saying, what he's doing. Again, notwithstanding the speeding tickets, but we've all been young and we've all done stupid things. And so I'm not going to be too critical. I just hope that it's a good reminder and like, okay, it could have been worse. I'm glad that hopefully there's no worse repercussions and you take better precautions and make better decisions going forward.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm with you.
I've heard that
Go ahead,
argument, and I've kind of made it myself that yeah, we all make stupid mistakes. Lord knows I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, but I also wasn't a professional athlete making millions of dollars and on television all the time. Do you think the standard has to be a little bit higher for these guys?
Does that go to the Charles Barkley where I'm not a role model
Yeah.
Scenario?
I don't need them to be role models. I just need them to not be idiots.
But I think if you, and this is like, I'm sure this has been said, and I don't want to make excuses for people, but don't they say that when you're 21, 22, your brain isn't fully developed when it comes to the part of the brain that you make good decisions? You do stupid things. You're a risk taker. Again, when I was that age, you're right. Being a football player, the problem is that you can't be the same idiot that the three of us can be when there's no spotlight on us. When the spotlight's on you, everything you do is going to be magnified, and they're going to know if you do something dumb like that. So it's tough.
Going to the brain development thing, guys, and this might be a little controversial, but it's my experience that if we're waiting for professional athletes for their brains to develop, that based on age and what I've seen from kids and other people, professional athletes would almost be at retirement age before they're actually fully developed. So that's really hard to find that mix. Yeah, because 21 is not even close to fully developed.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, you guys both make really good points. I want to believe that he's the good guy doing the stuff. I think it'd be really hard to pull all this stuff off. I mean, he's been pretty active with a lot of stuff he's done in the community. I think it'd be hard to do all this and not really want to do any of it. Just say I'm just putting on a show. But
no, he's likable enough, I think, for the fan base to
I think so.
feel that, right?
Yeah.
I think now he needs to show us what he can do on the football field.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And show us that regardless of the judgment he has on or off the football field, that he has good judgment on the football field, which is something you brought up on one of the last couple shows, Jeff. So yeah, definitely. But I saw this alert come up on my phone about one of the Browns, a draft pick being placed on the retirement list, and they said, whatever number pick it was, and I just assumed it was JOK, and I messaged Ethan on this, and then I looked it up. I'm like, it's not JOK. It was Eller. I can't find his name in my notes now. Ellerson Smith, an edge who they signed as a free agent, who retired at the age of 26. He would have been 27 this season. Edge rusher. Honestly, I mean, if that's what he felt like he needed to do, good for him. This is a tough defensive line to crack. If you're going to try to make a comeback or make your mark, this is probably not the team for him to do it on anyways. So I don't know what he's going through, if he'll try to catch on with somebody next season or whatnot. Just thought I'd bring that up because I really thought it was JOK that they had placed on that list initially. But you guys are like, yeah, I don't know who the hell Ellerson Smith is.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys have never even had a prime. This guy's dead. Oh, we'll cross him off the list.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, I think Ellerson Smith has come up twice in the last 3 weeks because we talked about the line a couple weeks ago, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned his name. We didn't know who he was then either, though.
Yeah.
Anyways,
He got in a couple of games last year. Look, it takes a lot of guys to run a training camp, and to run to fill out a practice squad, and it's a lot of moving pieces, parts, and we lose sight of a lot of these guys who fill those back end roles, and it's a
yeah,
tough job. It's a tough job.
yeah,
It's not for everybody, and hopefully he's got something better to do with his life, and we should just
I
wish him
hope
well.
so. Yeah, yeah, that's all we can really do. So, okay, Jeff, I don't have a bonehead insignia ready to put up, but we're gonna act like it is,
We,
like
we
it's
need
up
to bring
there.
back Top Dog and Bonehead, huh?
Top Dog and Bonehead. Eh, we're gonna move on to Quinshon Judkins. Everybody else has already talked about this because it happened quite a bit ago, but we're gonna talk about it. Um, First of all, I want to say that obviously domestic violence isn't something that any of us are going to stand up for. So I don't want anybody to think that no matter what we say, that we're taking his side and his right to do this, or whatever he was alleged to have done, or whatever he may have done. You know, we know that's just something you don't do, and something that's whatever happened, that's he should get whatever's coming to him if that's what happened. So, anyways, um, there's no defending that type of action. We also know that he is going to miss time. The league is going to suspend him just because he's been uh, alleged to have done this. Okay. The third thing I want to bring up is the Browns have a great history at running back. Okay. Um, and I'm not making light of at all of what happened. Okay, the rest of the stuff that I bring up here, guys, is not making light of the Quinshon Judkins situation, what he did, um, you know, the criminal action or anything like that, but it's the ramifications of how it affects the team. Okay, going forward, and that's really what I want to focus on because everybody's looked at the criminal side of this. I'm not a lawyer. You guys aren't a lawyer. I really don't want to discuss that. Okay? Because that's for the judicial system to work out and the league to dole out its punishment. So for me, I look at the fact that the Browns have 3 running backs in the Hall of Fame. They've all, almost consistently run the ball well. If we're going to need to replace a position, let it be running back for for several weeks, not some other position. Okay. Um, I know he was a top pick, uh, you know, high second round pick, and he was likely going to start in that, but the Browns, the Browns can deal with that. So, is there anything you guys want to say just about the whole situation right up front and the fact that he's going to miss 4 to 6 games or whatever it may be? Ethan.
All right, so I guess a couple of things here. One is whether you had heard this or not, I don't know. So my understanding from listening to the fine people talking on Cleveland sports radio and things I've read, the league generally will let things play out in the judicial world, the court case, before they dole out punishment, such as a suspension. We just saw the Rashee Rice case finally come to a conclusion with a ruling by the court. So you can expect a suspension to be forthcoming, right? For Judkins, they may put him on the commissioner's exempt list. Last year, Michael Hall pled no contest, and he got 5, 6 games, whatever it was. I think that so for you've got the as you mentioned, there's the legal side of things and there's the football side of things. I would just say that I don't know what it certainly doesn't look good. I would agree with you that if it had to be at any position, I suppose that's if you have to look at it as a glass half full, okay, I guess that was the best position or a better position for that to occur at. Notwithstanding, um, it certainly there's a couple of things. One, it gives pause for a lot of people who question Andrew Berry's decision making, the Browns front office and their evaluation of people and the background checks and so on and so forth. Apparently, Mary Kay Cabot was writing about how before, when the rookies were in there, when the players were there before they broke, they brought people in to talk about domestic violence. And so they're clearly making these folks aware of this. Now, let me ask you guys this, because two things actually. One, there's a lot of people who are crucifying Quinshon Judkins, yet they're Jim Brown fans and Kareem Hunt fans and other people in life, in world, the Browns, whatever, right? Kobe Bryant, Ben Roethlisberger. So what is it? You got to make up your mind. Either they're awful, terrible human beings, or they're these great people, and it's okay. So I don't want to hear this BS, to be quite frank. The other thing is that we saw a situation with the kicker for who was drafted by the Bills, Arise, Matt Arise, was that it? And he got accused and they cut him. They cut him. And then it comes out, apparently, whatever it was, it all got walked back, and now he's back in the league. He's in the league. But so that's where you have to let the legal system go through its process. It doesn't look
Correct.
good.
Correct.
I don't know what happened or what didn't happen. My whole qualm and issue is, what are you doing? What are you doing to put yourself in these positions?
That's where the bonehead part comes in. You can't put yourself in the position.
Exactly. Yeah. And I see a comment here, and I don't really, I'm trying to read it and process it, but I can't. But the speeding tickets, whatever trouble you're getting into, what are you doing? You got everything in front of you. Like, come on, man. I just don't get it. I don't get it, but this is life. And so let's see what happens. I think that we have seen Kevin Stefanski from a running back perspective. He's made a lot of people look pretty good in this the wide zone scheme that we previously had. Hopefully we get back to that. I mean, Dearness Johnson looked pretty darn good, and he's certainly not a Hall of Famer. They had made a lot out of problems. I mean, we didn't have Nick Chubb that season that we went to the playoffs, and we were doing it by committee with Hunt. And at that point, I don't know. We had Ford at that point as well. So Hunt, Ford, and Strong. But the bottom line is, we're going to miss Judkins, and it raises some red flags and causes you some pause and questions about the decision making. And then also, let's not forget that pick is the second round pick we got from Jacksonville as part of trading back from 2 to 5. So there's another link, and people are like, oh my God. And then they say, we could have had Travion Henderson. So a long-winded way of saying, I don't know what.
Yeah. I'll jump in here real quick because I just finished reading a book, Jim Brown, Last Man Standing. All about Jim Brown, his history, his life. It talked about probably 25% of the book was about football. A lot of it was about his off the field stuff. The good and the bad, and yeah, he did a lot of bad stuff. He did a lot of good stuff too. Very complex man, obviously. I think he and Kareem Hunt, when the Browns, when he was coming to Cleveland, man, there was an outcry. But you know what? When he left Cleveland, man, people hated to see him go. People have short-term memories on stuff like this, and um, I don't know what else to say. It's if you can play in this league, you know, I think it depends on the offense, obviously. There are some offenses that people are never going to forget, but most other things, people have a very short-term memory. And, you know, I think it would be the same thing with Judkins. If he serves his suspension and comes back and has a great career and never has another issue, people forget about it and move on. And that's not saying that domestic violence is okay. It's just the reality of how people look at professional athletes.
You hit the nail on the head. Look at Tyreek Hill. People don't seem to care what happened. Kidding me?
No. Yeah.
I mean, so it's a long history of this kind of stuff, and it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right, but the fact of the matter is, people will overlook that for production and winning, and or maybe they just kind of brush it aside. They're like, okay, I'm not going to harp
Yeah.
on this. It is what it is. The same thing
Yeah.
would have happened. Could you imagine, like, in the same sense, if Deshaun Watson had played well, if people would have kind of tried to overlook some of the accusations and been like, wow, he's playing great. We're winning football games, blah, 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 blah.
We said that many times. I mean, Jeff said that from the beginning that if you know if he came in and won this team a title, people would forget about it.
Winning
And
fixes
that is
everything.
absolutely correct, right?
Absolutely. Winning
Yeah.
fixes everything.
It does.
Look, Quinshon Judkins aside, I mean, he's already been found guilty in the court of public opinion. It really doesn't matter what he does from now on. He will always be viewed by people for what he did or didn't do. It doesn't really matter. Just the allegation alone is enough to convict him. Okay. So moving on from that, it speaks for me to a bigger problem, and it's not unique to the Browns organization. It speaks to the problem of these young kids who, yeah, we can say they do stupid things, but there's a level at which it surpasses just doing stupid things. It becomes criminal activity. It becomes self-destructive. It becomes a black eye to your team and all of your teammates. And I don't understand how you can take a guy from a winning organization, bring him into a losing organization, and he becomes a loser so fast. I mean, that's really what this boils down to. Okay, this is the perpetuation of a really crappy organization, bringing in good players and turning them to turds. Okay, how do we go through minicamp and not have some sort of psychological sessions with these guys, some sort of responsibility laid out in terms of what's the off season look like? What are you supposed to do with your time? How do you be a professional, right? And that isn't that part of what leadership within an organization is supposed to do? Players, coaches, ownership, right on down the line. We should be telling these young guys when they come in, look, don't fall into these traps. But yet we have them over and over and over and over again. Every single year. It's another guy here, another guy there, and they fall into these same traps. Why aren't we doing a better job as a league of getting these guys on the right path? Why do we have to always clean up the mess afterward?
That's a good point. I remember when the Browns were on what's the
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks a while back, and they showed who was the defensive end. They had Carl, what's the name, who was teaching a lot of the players about financial stuff. You guys know who I'm talking about.
I refuse to watch Hard Knocks. I refuse to get HBO.
I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
Anyways, so one of the players he pretty much volunteered to teach a lot of the players about this stuff, and I think at the time I'm thinking that's cool, but you bring this up, Jeff. man, the Browns have a huge staff. They don't have anybody teaching these guys. They should have somebody teaching them, you know, um, financial responsibility, the stuff you just talked about. I mean, are guys still going to make mistakes? Probably. Could they cut down on them? You would certainly think so. I mean, if they had been through something just a couple months ago, hey, here's what you need to watch out for. Here's what you need to do to control yourself so things don't escalate.
Look, this team led the league in penalties last year. Don't you think that there's a correlation between that and these kinds of things?
No, I'm going to tell you why. So let me ask you something, because John, from Fanatical Elves, John Suchan, put out posted this on social media since 2000. Let me ask you this: so the Browns do not have the most arrests since 2000.
Oh boy,
No,
they're not top of the league.
No,
Hold
they
on.
aren't. And so the reason I'm bringing it up is because look at the teams that have more arrests, and you tell me if it's because they're a bad organization. Minnesota Vikings, bad organization. All right, turning players into turds since 2000? I don't think so.
all right.
Denver Broncos? I don't know. The Bungles? I mean, they've had some good years.
Bad organization.
Well,
okay.
Bad organization, but they certainly don't lead the league in penalties. They've been near the best in penalties the last couple. At least two seasons ago, they were near the best.
Wait,
I don't know about last year.
We had Eric Mangini here. We were great with not getting penalties. We were also great at not winning. The Jaguars. That's a poop shoot of a poop shoot factory over there. But do you know who else is just above us in most arrests at 41, where we are at 40? The Kansas City Chiefs. Okay.
Well, but they're good. They can afford to take chances on guys, right? They're such a good organization.
But my point being, so the penalties, I don't know. I think the penalties and the correlation there on the field, that was some bull bleed that went on last year with some country club training camp crap and a bunch of guys resting on the laurels, and they were worried about getting this sports science, data, whatever, analytics, not getting guys hurt, and they weren't practicing. And when you don't practice in a new system with a quarterback who hasn't played, you're gonna screw up. They did everything for that guy number 4 and messed everything up. They broke they broke what didn't need to be fixed to try and make this guy work because they spent so much money on him. And that
Absolutely
led to a lot of problems. But you're right. The penalties are unacceptable. Now, let me ask you guys this. What do you guys think when arguably the best defensive player in the league, Myles Garrett, gets hit with an offsides penalty is coming? You know it because he's trying to time the snap count. But does that burn you up when he gets called for the offsides?
I just want a corresponding holding call on the other side when he gets held on every play.
Hey, yeah,
and then I'm good with it.
That's tough ass.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. I just want it to equal out because I know he's going to have those offsides, but I also know he's going to be held on almost every play. And so as long as it's a little more even, I'm okay. I don't expect the offsides to not get called. I mean, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, they do. They lack discipline for sure. They absolutely lack discipline, but I think it was a real poop show what they had going on over there, trying to make everything work for a quarterback who was broken.
Yeah. So guys, I got one more question here, and then we're going to move on to another segment. Obviously, Judkins is going to miss some time, whenever that is, if it's at the beginning of the season or whenever. A lot of people talking to Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson looks good. Everybody's talking about him. Third down back. Okay, third down back. Can he start? I mean, he's 5'8", 200 pounds. The guy ran for like 1,500 yards last season in college at Tennessee. Is he really too small? I mean,
there are a few running backs that have succeeded being of that stature, because you got to wonder about the durability.
Well, you're not going to run him up the middle very often.
Eric Metcalf up the middle. What was that? No, Belichick his call. I think he just called. No.
Well, I don't think Eric Metcalf weighed 200 pounds though, and Dylan Sampson may not either.
No, he carried that offense literally and figuratively
Yeah.
Nico Iamaleava was not that prolific of a passer. I don't care what they said. Dylan Sampson in the run game was the key for Tennessee last year. It was not Nico. So I think that was a great pick in a later spot. I like that. And look, we've got the offensive line. Make the holes for this guy, and he will get you some positive yards.
What do you think, Jeff?
Barry Sanders, 5'8", 203 pounds. Ashton Genty's the same size, and he was, the sixth pick, seventh, eighth pick, something like that.
Something like that.
Look, it has nothing to do with the size of the dog in the fight. It has everything to do with the size of the fight and the dog. If Dylan Sampson takes this opportunity and runs with it, we can just forget all about Quinshon Judkins. Let's give this kid the ball and let him play. Okay. I don't think it's something that you need to qualify him as at this point in his career. Would he make a great third down back at some point? Maybe. But right now,
Sure.
he's the guy that we need to hand the ball to. He's the
He
guy we
could
need
do
to hand
it,
the
but
ball
yeah.
to. I can tell you this: if I'm the guy writing the checks, I'm not in a big hurry to write one to Quinshon Judkins. I'm not signing him. I'm going to let him sit out the whole season if he has to. Resolve his legal problems, come back, and take a discount for another chance to play in the NFL. Okay? I'm not handing him a whole bag of money to come in.
Oh.
So, okay.
No, there's no point in it.
The next guy in line is Dylan Sampson. He's got the credentials. Let's play him. Let's build our offense around him. Let's go. I'm not going to lose any sleep over the fact that Quinshon Judkins stepped on his own dick and had a false start.
Wow, that's saying a lot of guys in Ghana.
All right, yeah. I agree with the man in the corner. Absolutely. All right, enough of that. We'll
call him Snuffleupagus for short or for long. I don't know. But yeah, we need somebody to take over as the bell cow. I'm not a big Jerome Ford guy. I feel like he's boom or bust. He can make a great play, but other than that, he's getting 1 yard and nothing else. I don't know that he's got the chops.
I don't dislike Jerome Ford, but we know what Jerome Ford is. We need to see what Dylan Sampson is.
Exactly.
I totally agree. Okay, Jeff. Jeff, are we doing this as a brain boost, or are we just doing this as a segment?
Let's do the brain boost. So we're gonna play a little bit of higher or lower, and I'm gonna start out just because we're talking about
that's new segment right there.
Oh, new segment. Okay, we're dropping the brain boost logo.
What the heck?
All right.
Oh, it was supposed to come up.
Okay.
There it is. All right. I thought I put it up. My bad.
All right. So since we're talking about what an awesome organization we're all fans of, I just thought it would be kind of fun to look at another measure of what a quality organization is, right? And that's how many times have you won your division? So higher or lower, guys, in the however many seasons now, 26 seasons that the Browns have been back. Since 1999, how many times have the Browns won the division?
They won it Johnny Manziel times. Zero.
Okay.
Correct.
So how many times in that same time period have they had 14 or more losses? And the over-under's 3.
14 or more.
Okay, so the first season they absolutely had 14. We know that there were.
Let's say the over-under's what, Jeff? 3?
3.
It's over.
I already know it's over.
It's over. It's 4.
Yeah, so it's 4. So that was an easy one to start out with. Okay.
They've given us layups, Ethan, to start. Now here comes a hard one now.
Start you off with a layup. So in the prior season, in the prior history of the organization from 1946 to 1995, how many times did the organization lose 13 or more games?
You got an over-under number?
Yeah, do we have an over-under?
Yeah, your over-under is 2.
1. It's under. It's 1.
Yeah. You
One
guys
time?
are good at this.
It was the year
Yeah.
that they fired. Did they fire? Was that the year they fired Marty, or the year they fired Bud Carson?
They fired Bud Carson, brought in Jim Schaffner, and then Bill Belichick took over the next year,
Right.
1990. They were 3-13. We did not have a 14-loss season prior to 1999. We've done it 4 times since then. Yeah, and by the way, that was coming off of a string of 4 division championships in 5 years. When Bud Carson had that lovely showing. And it led to 1991 and Bernie's diminishing skills, and the rest is history. All right. Number of division championships since the 1964 NFL championship. How many times did the Browns win the division from 1965 to 1995? Over under is 8.
I mean,
I can
I
tell you
don't
it's
know.
pretty close to that number.
Well, I mean, you know what? He's doing
Uh,
this on purpose. He wouldn't give us a completely random number.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say so from 65 to not through what 95. So that 30-year
I'm
period.
gonna go over. I'm thinking maybe 9, but I mean I was honestly thinking like 8, so I'm gonna go over on that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we know what they did in the 80s, or at least the mid 80s. So that's at least what 3 of them.
4
Uh,
of them. Yep. 4 and
four,
4
four,
times. I just gave you 4 times in 5 years.
so I'm gonna go over as well.
Yeah. So it's 10 in 23 years. 10 championships, and yeah,
Yeah,
obviously
they won
most of
quite a
them
few
were
early.
early on, right? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so in that stretch of 30 years, we won 10 division championships in 23 years. Uh, since then, it's been 36 years since our last one, and we've been second in the division how many times in 26 years? So in other words, we not third or fourth in the division in the last 26 years. How many times? The over under is 2.
Well, let's see. So we finished second in the division, and I guess did we finish second in yeah when we made the wild card 2 years ago. That's
23.
one.
Yep.
And I believe we finished second in the division when we missed the playoffs because of Jim Sorgi playing on Sunday Night Football in Indianapolis. So you said the over under is 2, so it's got to be. I'm pretty sure it's 2. Can't be 2 on the nose. I'm gonna go over. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Probably
agree
the other year we
with
made
the
a wild
over.
card, probably finished second. The year the Run William run and
Yeah.
Kelly
So
Holmes
it's
3.
3 times. 3 times in 26 years. Yeah. So yeah, obviously that's a sign of an organization that has been a total disaster for a long time, right? We've had some success over the last 4 or 5 seasons with Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry. We can certainly nitpick some of their decisions, and we can probably accost them for some of their worst ones. Um, but we've definitely had a better situation in the last few years. But last year fits right in with what this organization is and has been for a very long time. So that's your Browns brain boost for tonight. No
No
applause
applause.
necessary.
No applause necessary. Yeah. Ah, yeah. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Sweet.
Wait, I had the
All
applause on
right.
my end. I should have chimed in.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
there
Okay.
you go. All
Okay.
right.
All
There we
right.
go. Or unless it
Yeah.
was like this.
Yeah.
Look at us sound
Okay.
effect guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, nicely done, Jeff. Despite the damper that puts on, what I thought was shaping up to be a decent show. Just kidding. No, no. Unfortunately, when we start digging into stats and stuff of this team, more often than not, we come up short and don't quite hit the expectations we'd like to hit. So it's just reality,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but we got training camp starting and we got a lot of guys on prove it deals and hopefully we'll we'll find something this season. Whether it's wins or guys who can lead to a rebound in the future. You know, there's always hope, right, guys?
There's always next year.
There's always next year. Yeah. All right.
I'm speechless here. No, look, what do they say? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and
Yeah.
it's pretty,
Yeah.
it's pretty true. That's kind of what
Very,
it
very
is.
true.
So
Very
I don't
true.
know. I mean, quite frankly, I'm prepared for the worst until the clock actually reaches all zeros and the final whistle blows, because I never trust that it's over until it is actually over. Um, i.e. the Jets game, i.e. the game
This is true.
when I
Yeah.
almost lost my job as an assistant manager at Finish Line for his stupidity and my cursing in front of a customer. These things happen.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think we've killed enough of this stuff. We're gonna have training camp to talk about soon, and there'll be stories coming out and all kinds of good stuff, right? So everybody, make sure you check out Ethan on both of his podcasts. You got you want to give the nights and when you're going to be recording each of those next, Ethan?
Well,
Or are you not sure yet?
kind of sadly, or just matter of fact, when you're trying to fit things around the schedules of children and work and so on and so forth, things kind of get a little out of whack there. But pretty sure. So not sure when Mike, my co-host on Going Nuclear, he is out of town visiting with family, his in-laws in Kansas. So when he gets back, we'll get back on track. Hopefully Sunday afternoon. We are looking at Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock. Best doggone podcast in the land with Ethan and Heather. I have a really good local Cleveland minor Cleveland celebrity lined up, and I think it'll be fascinating. Good stuff, great person, and hopefully all goes as planned. So be on the lookout on Twitter, on social media for posts about the podcast for Sunday at 1. That's what we are aiming for, and I implore people, please tune in to and follow Browns Blitz. Follow all the shows on the Fanatical Elves Network. Get on YouTube, like, subscribe. If you're driving around town, get on where all your podcasts are. That's the beauty of being part of Fans First Sports Network. All these podcasts are uploaded to all your favorite podcast platforms. You can go on your Spotify's and your Apple podcasts and so on and so forth. Odyssey.
Just about everywhere. Yeah.
You can go on Odyssey and find our podcast. So I want people to know that you can listen to us whether you catch us live or you catch us on the go. Great stuff. A lot of great contributors here, and really appreciate you all having me on. This has been fantastic. Anytime you let me know, glad to chime in with my ridiculosity.
Absolutely. It's been great talking to Ethan. Thanks for joining us tonight. Jeff, do you have any closing words for us?
Yeah, Ethan, it sounds like your show on Sunday could be the best thing to happen in Cleveland at 1 o'clock on a Sunday in a long, long time.
That's what I'm thinking. I said, look, it is a Sunday. It's not football season. It's 1 o'clock. I know your calendar is clear, so why not sit down at the computer? No,
we're wide open.
Sounds awesome.
Wide open.
Watch out for the posts. I think it'll be a really good one. Someone who's going to have some good stories, good insights, and on a lot of different topics in Cleveland sports, as we like to get into a bunch of things.
Nice. Well, we look forward to that. Just, when you think that you can't set your expectations any lower for an organization, somebody punches somebody in the mouth, and here we are. So adjust accordingly, folks.
We're flexible, aren't we?
All right.
Absolutely. You better believe it. All right. This has been the Browns Blitz. We thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.